Welcome back to the Means Report, everybody. Brad Means, happy to have you with us on this Sunday. And we are privileged to be joined by someone who is going to talk to us about Alzheimer's. She's no stranger to this community, always pushing the cause and always trying to promote awareness. We're grateful that she's taken time out of her busy schedule to be here. It's Kathey Tuckey with the Georgia chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. And Kathey, thank you so much for continuing to spread the word and for being here today.
Thank you so much, Brad. We so appreciate your allowing us to be here.
I was surprised to find out, first of all, something you just told me. You're just coming from Atlanta, where you've been meeting with peers to talk about how you all are going to cope with the growing number of seniors, if you will. Many people turning 65, and that's sort of the key age when you're talking about Alzheimer's, talking about risk. So your workload is not going to lessen. In fact, it's getting busier every day, isn't it?
Every day. I think we're looking at 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 each day now. And as we reach the age of 65, it puts us in that greater category. We're one of 8 of us. And I think one of the statistics that really strikes home for me, and I think for many of my peers, is the fact that if you're a woman who's reached the age of 55, there's a 1 in 6 chance that you will develop Alzheimer's in your lifetime. For men, it's 1 in 10.
1 in 10.
So it's going to affect us. There's no question, but it's affecting us now, just by the numbers and the incidents and the demand that our caregivers are needing. But more and more people are being diagnosed early on in younger onset, where we're in their 40s and 50s. So the challenge is, the past 2 days, day and a half I've been meeting, is how are we going to meet it, the growing demand, and how are we going to be there to serve our constituents. And those constituents are the people with Alzheimer's disease, their caregivers, the professionals, law enforcement, everyone who is touched by the disease.
Well, you know, a lot of people, many of them are touched by it, and dementia is not a normal process of aging. This is something that you have to look out for. You can't just expect it to happen. It's not normal. Nothing is typical about it. But if you had to point out some signs, some symptoms that we as caregivers and loved ones and friends can look out for, what would they be? And again, you're talking about perhaps even 40 and older to start getting your radar cranked up?
Absolutely. And we're looking at things like that wouldn't be normal. The normal things are we're going to forget where we put our keys. But we're not going to, we won't forget what the key is for. So in short-term memory, it's the repeating of stories over and over again, forgetting that. Now, certainly our lives are really full. So we have lots of challenges, but when our family members are noticing it, when work members that were, our coworkers are seeing some of the things, the changes in personality, mood, some things that we might see as well as just depression, but it's actually the beginning stages of Alzheimer's disease. The key about this disease is the fact that when we show the symptoms, it means this disease has been developing for years.
So we're talking about the separation or the distinction between a senior moment and something more serious is the repetition and the fact that we are seeing patterns.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll look out for those.
And we do have a great workshop that we do. It's called Know the 10 Signs, and where we really go into seeing more in depth about that too. We do that a lot in our community.
Are you seeing more cases of Alzheimer's patients, seniors in general, wandering? We talked in our first segment about some harm that has come upon seniors in our area recently. Certainly wandering away from home opens you up to that. Tell me what can be done about that, what sort of resources are available. I know we've covered Project Lifesaver in a couple of local counties. What can the association do to go beyond that?
Well, a lot of it is education, and I think that we all need to be aware of the fact that wandering has no season for someone with Alzheimer's or one of the related dementias. It can happen at any time. It can happen early on. We've had individuals who have driven away. We had a case just recently here in Augusta, just became confused and is lost for 18 hours. There was a couple cases in Savannah, individuals who have driven away. They've still not been found. It's been over a year. So what we need to do is be educated about it. And not to fear it, we have to be proactive. And things like, thank goodness we have Columbia County, Aiken County. I serve 17 counties for my office here in Augusta, and Emmanuel County and Greene County also have Project Lifesaver. But there's other counties that do not. And there are other things that are available nationwide and certainly here in Augusta, we have the Medical Alert Safe Return Program.
It's like the bracelet?
It's a bracelet. It is not something that's going to track or help us find the person, but what it will do is if that person does become lost, and let's say they're downtown Augusta and they're looking confused, if they're wearing that bracelet, on the back is an 800 number. When that 800 number is called, we know their emergency contact, we know what medications they're on, we can bring them back to their loved one. And even if the person doesn't have the bracelet on, if a call is made to our 800 number, we can look in our database, and I've done that. I've had Richmond County call me at Richmond County Sheriff's Office call me at 10 o'clock at night. We've found this person on such a street, and I will go to my office, call our 800 number, and look up the, kind of the zip code where they're found to see if possibly they've been registered in the Medical Alert Safe Return Program. We'll turn no one away. There's a nominal cost for it, but we will not let that stand in the way of someone wearing that bracelet. So that becomes one measure for the person, and then there's other things. The Alzheimer's Association has something called Comfort Zone, and that works on GPS. We actually had a family locally who beta tested that system, and when I went out to their home to see where they were actually able to set up a zone around the house where if their loved one left that zone, they were alerted.
What's the loved one wearing?
It's actually wearing like a little pager. And so it's not for someone who might be mid-stage, later stage, who might remove that pager, but it is a great method. And I think the technology is getting better. There's something else called M-Finders within our state, and that works on 911 cell towers. So we have avenues, but the only way is if people know about the services.
And then, you don't want to advise a caregiver to lock up their loved one if they have Alzheimer's. If they don't have any of these resources that you've mentioned, is it just as simple as keeping a closer eye on these folks and making sure that they don't leave the house unprotected? Absolutely.
I think we all have to anticipate. The fact is, Alzheimer's disease is a degenerative, progressive disease. It doesn't go away. It doesn't get better. I wish we had medications that did. What it means is that we as caregivers, as care partners, and I like to think of ourselves as care partners, not only caregivers, but as that care partner, is we need to be alert to the signs. If someone is judgment's impaired, so that means someone may be having trouble with some safety issues like cooking, using stoves. We need to be aware of that and proactive, because there may be a point in time where we have to cut the gas. We have to put, turn the breaker off to the stove. Look at other resources or other methods to keep that person safe. For the wandering, certainly it's looking at alarms on doors that would alert the caregiver. There's mats that can be put in front of a door or next to the bed to allow one. The key for this, though, is the caregiver goes under a lot of stress with this.
They do.
So we've got to worry about the caregiver too.
Well, what can be done for them? What sort of quickly resources do you have available? Not only if they need extra assistance caring, but if they need a break.
Okay. Couple of different things. Number one, I want to be sure that people know our 800 number. I'm so proud that as an organization that 800 number is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So even if I'm not in my office, there is someone handling that 800, holidays, weekends, so that if they, the stress of this, there's someone they can talk to. There's education programs.
And do you know it offhand, 800?
Oh, I sure do. And I want everyone to know that number. It's 800-272 3900.
All right, 272-3900.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we need a break. We need a rest from all this caregiving.
There are other resources that will be out there. Number one, our Area Agency on Aging is a great resource, and their number, I don't have their 800 number embedded in my brain yet, but 706-210-2018, and that may be something that may be helpful. We also have Caregiver Time Out grants. We've been so fortunate and privileged that Women in Philanthropy this year locally has provided us with a grant so that we'll be able to allow families, and it's not a lot of money, but it will give them some respite where they can bring in someone maybe for an afternoon, so that they can go to the store, or they can go to church, or they can come to a support group. Many individuals look forward to having a support group and a network of other caregivers that they can share information with. So there's respite is extremely important. there's a book called The 36-Hour Day that we consider the Alzheimer Bible or the Dementia Bible. And if I might also say that we're the Alzheimer's Association and related disorders, I would want no one to think because their loved one has been diagnosed with frontal temporal dementia or Lewy body dementia or vascular dementia or any of the other dementias under the category of dementias. We're there to help them also.
That's good to know.
Let that not stand in the way. But that 36-Hour Day book, I think, is called that for a reason, because for the caregiver, there's no other disease that is like this disease.
When are we going to cure this thing?
Oh, Brad, I wish I had that answer for you. I think we're making steps in the right direction. In my lifetime, I don't know if I'll see a cure, but what we're looking for is drugs. Clinical trials. The Alzheimer's Association has a program that's called Trial Match. They can go to our website and you can look and see what trials are going on in your area. You can also put in as a healthy volunteer, because what we need is not only the research studies to be done, the clinical trials, we need participants in that. That is what Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. It is the only one in the top 10 causes where there is no cure, there's no drugs to slow the progression or stop the progression. We've got to do something about it, but we're going to need people in the very early stages or even before with mild cognitive impairment so that we can look at where we're going to be 20 or 30 years from now. Certainly not bankrupt from this disease. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say thank you for your time here. I know it's been brief, but it's been informative, and I hope it's made people more aware of what you're doing.
I hope so too.
And generated some support.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks a lot, Kathey Tuckey, Alzheimer's Association of Georgia. Reach out to them. They can help you, and they need your help too. When we come back, ways you can help shape future editions of the Means Report. We'll be right back.